I didn't believe in ghosts when this happened. Not really. I believed in bad dreams, old houses settling, your brain filling in gaps when it's tired. That changed the night I stayed at my aunt's house after her funeral. It was late, past midnight. The house was quiet in that unnatural way that only happens after something emotional. I slept in the guest room at the end of the hallway, the same hallway my aunt used to walk down every night before bed. Sometime around 2 a.m., I woke up to the sound of footsteps. Slow, measured. It sounded like bare feet on hardwood. I assumed it was my uncle. Maybe he couldn't sleep. Then I heard the pause outside my door. The handle didn't turn. Whoever it was just stood there. I opened the door. The hallway was empty. But the light at the far end was on, and standing beneath it was a woman. She wore a long nightgown. Her hair was pulled back, and her hands folded neatly in front of her. She looked exactly like my aunt. She didn't move, didn't blink, just stared at me with a soft, tired expression. I whispered her name. She smiled, and then the light shut off. I slept with my door locked until morning. I never mentioned it to my uncle. But the next day he told me something without me asking. He said my aunt used to check the hallway every night to make sure everyone was home. When my wife and I bought our first house, it felt like a fresh start. Quiet street, young families, the kind of place where nothing bad was supposed to happen. Our son was only 3 weeks old when we moved in. He was sleep deprived, exhausted, and barely functioning. The baby monitor was brand new. It had no issues. The first night it happened, I woke up to static. Not loud, but just enough to pull me out of sleep. And then I heard it. A woman humming. Slow and gentle, right into the monitor. I thought my wife had gone into the nursery, but she hadn't. We checked the room together. Our son was asleep. No one else was there. It happened again the next night. It always happens after midnight, always the same tune. We told ourselves it was interference. Maybe old wiring, anything but what it felt like. One night, the humming stopped mid-note. Then the voice spoke. He needs to sleep. It wasn't angry. It wasn't kind. It was firm. We unplugged the monitor that night, and we moved our son into our room. Weeks later, a neighbor mentioned the fire, that our house used to be a nursery, and they say that there was a woman who couldn't save her baby. I don't know if it was her, but sometimes late at night, when the house is quiet, I swear I can still hear the humming. I've worked night shifts for most of my adult life, so being alone late at night never really bothered me. You get used to empty roads, quiet buildings, and that strange feeling that the world is paused while everyone else sleeps. That night, I was driving home a little after 3 in the morning. I was exhausted but not tired enough to sleep, so I pulled into a gas station just off the highway to grab a drink and wake myself up. It was one of those places that's open 24 hours but never feels alive. The parking lot was empty, and the fluorescent lights made everything look flat and washed out. Inside, the clerk barely looked up when I walked in. I paid for my drink and decided to use the bathroom before heading back. The bathroom was cleaner than I expected. It had bright lights, white walls, and a wide mirror stretched across the sink, reflecting the room a little too clearly. I turned on the water to wash my hands, expecting it to warm up after a second or two, but it didn't. It stayed cold, cold enough that I actually flinched and pulled my hands back for a moment. When I looked up at a mirror, that's when I realized something was wrong. My reflection was smiling. But I wasn't smiling. At first, I tried to rationalize it. I told myself I must have zoned out, or that my face had moved before my brain caught up. But the longer I stared, the more obvious it became that the smile didn't belong to me. Slowly, just to be sure, I raised my right hand. The reflection didn't move. Instead, it tilted its head slightly, like it was studying me, trying to figure something out. My chest tightened, and that rush of adrenaline hit me all at once. I took a step back from the sink, and at the exact same time, the reflection stepped closer to the glass. Its face filled more of the mirror than it should have, and the smile stretched wider in a way that didn't look human anymore. Then its mouth opened slowly, as if it was about to speak, but no sound came out. The lights overhead flickered once, then again, and suddenly everything snapped back to normal. My reflection matched me again. It had the same expression as before and moved exactly when I did, like nothing strange had happened at all. I didn't test it. I didn't move my hands or lean closer. I turned around and walked out of that bathroom as calmly as I could manage. I drove home in complete silence, replaying what I'd seen over and over in my head. By the time I got home, my hands were still shaking. For weeks afterward, I avoided mirrors whenever I could. I covered the one in my bathroom and looked past reflections in windows and car doors. Eventually, curiosity got the better of me. I went back to the gas station during the day to see if anything felt different. When I asked the clerk about the bathroom, his expression changed immediately. He told me that years earlier, a man had collapsed there late at night and was found hours later standing in front of the sink. They said he was still smiling when they found him. Now sometimes, when I'm alone late at night and I catch my reflection in a dark window, I look away immediately. Because I don't know how long it takes for something like that to switch places. And I don't want to be there when it finally decides to follow me home.